Good evening, everyone. Great to see you all. It is always a pleasure for me to come to the DU campus. I always confess when I do these talks that I went to CU Boulder. However, since spending so much time on the DU campus, I have come to really love and appreciate the opportunity you all have here. The Daniels College of Business is just incredible. I went to the Leeds College of Business up at CU. It was a great education, but you all have a tremendous faculty, student life here, and a huge opportunity in front of you. So I just encourage you on that you're at an amazing school. My name is Mike Pritchard. I think my name is on the screen here. I'm a vice president at Goodwill Industries of Denver, and if I could maybe start with a show of hands, how many of you have ever donated or shopped at a Goodwill store? Anybody in the room? Almost everybody. Thank you. First and foremost, thank you. Goodwill runs on clothing donations and household donations, as you all know, and I think as college students you'll find Goodwill has some great deals on jeans and t-shirts, and so I'd encourage you to shop our stores. My wife and I actually just adopted a little 4-year-old girl from Ethiopia, our first child, and shopping at Goodwill is amazing. We actually go on the 50% sale days, and we can get like a ton of clothes for $30. And I'll share this with you. You guys are in luck. Tomorrow is a 50% sale day at all Goodwill stores. Those only happen about once a month, so cruise to your local Goodwill. If you don't have your Halloween costume yet, tomorrow is the day to kind of start shopping for Halloween at the Goodwill store. So, sorry, I'm totally going off on a tangent already here, but passionate about Goodwill. I'm passionate about DU, the work you all are doing, and this ethics boot camp is just tremendous. Ethics, when it comes to volunteering, go hand in hand. I think we all, as business students, you all are going to be future business leaders, will have an ethical responsibility to your communities. And that may be in the Metro Denver area. Some of you may be from other parts of the U.S. or around the world, and wherever you end up, as you go on in your business career, just want to talk to you tonight a little bit about why it matters that you should volunteer in your community. And let me make sure I don't restart this. So I'm going to take us through a quick agenda here. We'll talk briefly about the business of volunteering, a little bit about Goodwill. We'll talk specifically about Goodwill's youth services programs, and then we're going to really dive into some details. That handout that all of you have, we're going to talk about some really neat volunteer opportunities for you all to take advantage of this quarter. And if anybody doesn't have a handout, is there anybody in the back of the room that, there's a few people, okay. Allison with Goodwill as well, she's going to kind of walk around, maybe keep your hands up and she'll head your way as I'm talking. So let me, then we'll close with a Q&A, and it says, please sign in with your name, phone, and email. You actually don't have to do that. Allison will explain the details. We're finally getting to the computer age here at Goodwill. It took us a little while. So let me talk about the business of volunteering. Here's why, a few reasons why it's great to volunteer as you think about your business career, but I also want you all to think about this in your student career, because it's a rougher job market out there for you all. When you hopefully get out in a few years, it'll be better. But volunteering and being involved in your community right now will actually be good for you all, even as you try to find jobs. So networking is critical. We all know that, business networking. But when you volunteer at a nonprofit, you're connecting with other folks in the community that are passionate about issues similar to you. You just meet good people when you volunteer. So I highly encourage you. I'm sure many of you in high school have done DECA or a bunch of different things. So I encourage you to not stop volunteering. Stay involved in student clubs or different ways you can get involved. Contributing back to the community where you do business is critical, and I don't think I shared this yet, but I started my career as a CPA at Deloitte & Touche. So I got an accounting degree at Leeds School of Business, did 4 years of audits for Deloitte, wonderful firm. But during that time, I actually toured a homeless shelter for teenagers it's called Urban Peak, and some of you may have heard about it. It's a homeless shelter here in Denver. And what I didn't realize, when I was sitting in your chairs in college, I honestly was not very involved in volunteering. So you all have a cool opportunity even this quarter. I had no idea that there were really homeless teenagers in the streets of Denver. And what I learned, on any given night, there can be up to 1,000 youth on the streets of Denver. And I think in this economy, it's not getting any better. So, we all probably come from fairly good backgrounds. For you all to be at the DU, Daniels College of Business, probably pretty good backgrounds. And maybe have had some opportunities that other teenagers around your age haven't had. So they're literally homeless. So that tour of that homeless shelter transformed my life. I actually ended up leaving Deloitte, taking a 50% pay cut to go work for United Way back in '99. And so that's been now 12 years, and I haven't looked back. So not to say all of you going into business, that isn't the right path. But for some of you, you may decide as you go into community activities that working for a nonprofit's a great career choice as well. I will share with you, salaries tend to be a little bit different. So, you got to think about family and future and all that type of stuff. But working for a nonprofit is a great career. Working for Deloitte or for a for-profit company is a great career as well. And if you're in those for-profit companies, you have a huge opportunity to make an impact in the community where you do business. One of the best things, I just will want to plant the seed in your mind, think about becoming a board member. Every nonprofit has a board of directors. We need business leaders. We need you all as you go into your business career to serve on board of directors. You're going to have skills that will be invaluable to the nonprofit. So that third bullet point, to boost your visibility for free, that's kind of goes back to the networking thing. If truly you do want to work for a nonprofit, it's a great idea to volunteer with that nonprofit that you might want to work with. But again, you're volunteering alongside other business leaders. The fourth bullet point, sharpen your business skills. I actually got, in my early career, some of you may be like this as well, had some web HTML skills. That's probably an old language now. I have no idea what's going on in the web. Apps, I guess, is what it is today. But designed a website for a nonprofit and ended up getting a job with them just because I volunteered to design their website. And they're like, you're good, we'll give you a job. Again, still not making that money you make in the for-profit world. So you gotta think about that. But you can definitely sharpen your business skills without even having to go work for the nonprofit. And last bullet point, meaningful community partnerships, community connections. I'm gonna talk a little bit more about that, I think, in the next slide. Last but not least, it makes a difference. Yeah, and I'll just camp on this for a sec. Our life is short. I sometimes get reminded of this and I forget, the mortality rate is still 100%. 100 years from now, all new people. We're not going to be here. So it's a short time we have on this earth, and there's such an opportunity to make a difference, not only in the lives of others, but in your own life. And so as you think about your business career, your future career, just add a little community service or a lot of community service to the component of it. It'll transform your communities. It'll transform you. And in our world today, we need it. I mean, I'll talk some of the stats with high school graduation rates and unemployment rates, but the need is immense, as we all know as we read the news today. This is a Goodwill student that we serve that just talks about when volunteers like you come and volunteer with Goodwill, you all can listen to these students, help encourage them on what it would take to get into college like you all and hopefully get a job. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about how you all can get involved with Goodwill and some youth in our community. Before I do that, I think I have a video here. Hopefully our technology is going to work, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit more about Goodwill. We'll see if it works. Maybe not. That's okay. I think I can be as entertaining as that video. I will try. No, nothing. That's okay. So what this video is going to show you is individuals living in poverty that had an opportunity to change their lives through Goodwill. For those of you, which is pretty much all of you that have shopped at Goodwill stores or donated, those retail stores are critical fronts in how Goodwill does our business. So Goodwill, amazingly, has 24 stores just in the Metro Denver area. And in those stores, we hire people with disabilities and barriers to employment. So what that means is individuals that have come out of prison recently, maybe some families that are on TANF, which is welfare, temporary aid for needy families, individuals that haven't worked in a long time. Our goal is to give individuals in our community that have had a rough run, maybe alcohol addiction, drug addiction, homelessness, a myriad of things, and we hire them. So when you shop or donate at a Goodwill store, you're just by shopping and donating, benefiting the people behind the cash register, in the back room, in the storeroom, by giving them a job. But the beauty of the Goodwill model is these stores generate additional revenues that we can then invest into the community. And so the way we're doing that is primarily now through a youth program. We're in 26 high schools in the Metro Denver area doing career development work. So basically, we're trying to help high school students think about their futures, which very honestly, a lot of our high school students don't do. I didn't do it in high school. I barely did it in college. You all are probably ahead of me in college. But when you're a high school kid, it's really tough to think about your future very far. And if you're living in poverty or you're homeless or you're in a domestic violence situation with your family, your brother's in a gang, he's in jail. There's a myriad of just societal issues that really make it challenging for some of the youth in our community to think about their future. So Goodwill comes into these high schools and does a career development curriculum that is transformative. The high schools that we focus on are in the Metro Denver area, pretty inner city, where some of the graduation rates are at 50%. Professor Cicchetti actually spoke with me up at Adams City High School in Commerce City just about a year ago. My wife worked there as well. Their freshman class at Adams City High School is 400 students. By the time they get to senior year, 200 students. They have lost half the class by the time they get to senior year. Where have those other 200 gone? Dropped out, gangs, maybe moved, maybe started working at a very young age. It's just not good when you lose 50% of your high school class and they don't graduate. That's going to cause a lot of issues in our society. So you all as volunteers, and Allison's going to talk to you a little bit more about this as we get to the tail end of the presentation here, have an opportunity to come out into these high schools, and don't worry, it's a safe environment. Although Professor Cicchetti, he felt a little threatened. He actually, somebody was goofing around in the front row. We kind of figured out later it was a gang member, and Professor Cicchetti tossed him out. We're like, geez, I hope that turns out okay. He was fine. But you'll be safe. Don't worry. The teachers and everybody there truly are first class. Professor Cicchetti, you know him. He can, he's not shy. So, don't take somebody on if they, step up to you, I guess. But what you'll be doing in these high schools is working with our facilitators. We have staff. And we have our students in the classroom that you're going to be working with who have been prepped to do a mock job interview. So you all will come in as Chipotle or McDonald's or whatever they're applying for, Macy's department store, and they have a resume. They're supposed to be dressed up nicely, and we give you questions to ask those students for about one-on-one, a student for about 15 to 20 minutes. You provide them feedback, and then they go on their way. You write out an eval for them. For most of the students, this is the first ever interview they've ever done. It's obviously not for a real job, but it's critical, the role that you all will be in, to ask the meaningful questions and then give some meaningful feedback of, look, you're fidgeting too much, you dress terribly, your pants are sagging, nicely, kind of give them constructive criticism, just so when they do apply for Chipotle this next summer, they can maybe get the job. That's one volunteer opportunity. The other ones are college panels. We need you all to come out, and this is actually a critical need Allison will talk about, and talk about how you got into college and what is college like, because for a lot of these students, nobody else in their family has gone to college, and so to hear from somebody at DU right now is just going to be huge for them. So those are a little bit of the volunteer opportunities. What we're able to do in these 26 high schools that we're in is move the needle on the graduation rate. So as I mentioned, the graduation rate of high school for many of these high schools is 50%. For the students we're able to track that go through the Goodwill class, that graduation rate pops up north of 80%. So we're able to move that needle 50% to 80% plus. Statewide, in the state of Colorado, actually I'm supposed to give away some tickets, I think, if you all win an iPad or something. Guesses on statewide high school graduation rate. Anyone have a guess? That's close enough. Yeah, you get it. It's 70%. He had a really good guess. And it actually may be 74. He's probably more spot on than I. So let me give that to Allison. So statewide, think about that. Out of all the high schools in the state of Colorado, 30% of our youth roughly are not graduating. And then you go to Adams City High School in Commerce City, you go to Aurora Central, and 50%. It's a huge societal issue, and you all as college students will have an opportunity to volunteer with Goodwill this quarter that we'll tell you more about. So this video was going to show you all that and make you cry. I probably didn't quite do that for you, so I apologize. No tears here. Okay, so this is a little bit about Goodwill. We're actually now up to 24 thrift stores. I'm trying to think of the closest one to DU. Broadway. Yeah, I guess First and Broadway is the closest. We're going to be opening our 24th store on Hampton and Monaco, which isn't too far from here, end of this month. So that'll be one for anybody that lives out that way. These stores are pretty big business. So you all as business majors kind of think about this. Goodwill in the Metro Denver area generates $54 million on an annual basis. We've employed 1,200 people right now. That's a big business in Colorado. On a national basis, Goodwill is $4.2 billion in revenues. That is the same size as United Way on a national basis, $4.2 billion in revenues. That's a B. So these are big dollars that kind of come through thrift stores, but it's a beautiful model in that, as I mentioned before, people with disabilities, backgrounds, criminal backgrounds, welfare to work, are working in the stores and turning their lives around. So it's an amazing story that the thrift stores help us do. We call ourselves the original socially responsible retailer. Places like Target, other retailers do a lot of great things in the community. We do that kind of throughout every single thing we do, but other retailers are doing some great stuff as well. So here's what's interesting is our community programs. We hire folks with disabilities, and really up on 68th and Federal, where our corporate headquarters are, we have almost 200 individuals working with very severe disabilities. They're not able to work in our stores, but they're able to do light industrial manufacturing work for us, putting together basic sprinkler parts. Steve Spangler Science actually has them putting together some science kits. They do all of our receipts for our stores. It's just an amazing program to see these individuals with very severe disabilities getting out of their house, getting out of their group homes, and working and earning a paycheck. So we pay them. They earn a salary working with us, which is a beautiful thing. We work with a lot of adults, career development services, and here's our motto: get a job, get a better job, get a career. Many people come to work for Goodwill, and I'll just tell you right now, our starting salary in the stores is $8.25. That's not the best job in the world necessarily to start with, unless you haven't had a job and you're coming to work for Goodwill, where we're going to help you kind of move forward in your career. So while it's at first $8.25 doesn't sound great for many individuals, it's their first crack at a job in quite a while. We work with them to get benefits right away, and then really try to get them a better job, possibly within the stores, assistant managers, district managers, and maybe leave Goodwill and get an even better career, get them back to school. So that's a part of our approach. And then the youth services piece in the 26 area high schools is really the big focus, and that's kind of your opportunity to volunteer with Goodwill this upcoming quarter. And when I say volunteer with Goodwill, I do also want to caveat this, and Allison will tell you more in advance. You don't have to volunteer with Goodwill. Many of you may have some other nonprofits that you're passionate about that you want to volunteer with this quarter. That is totally fine too. But what we found is we do these ethics boot camps. A lot of folks are like, I had no idea Goodwill was in high schools, and I could go volunteer for an hour, hour and a half, and have a one-on-one experience with the youth in our community. It's powerful. The other thing I think we're going to do is bring some of the high school students on the DU campus, and Allison will talk more about that. We did that last year. It was amazing. We had, I think they were up from Montbello High School, came down. Again, Professor Cicchetti is just great interacting with these students. The whole Montbello football team was there. Got some great photos of them kind of carrying Professor Cicchetti. But so some of those students will probably be on campus at some point as well. Yeah, that's just critical. Youth in our community, and you all are so close to them in age that they will really listen to you and look up to you when you come out and volunteer with us. So please do think about Goodwill as we get to these volunteer opportunities. This is just some numbers, but they're big. You know, the economic benefits of reducing the dropout rate. We are losing millions of dollars in our economy through dropouts. I mean, so we tell high school students, if you can graduate high school, you're going to make at least $500,000 more in your career than if you don't graduate high school. And if you can go to college like you all, that number's $1 million plus. I mean, so these are some really serious dollars individually, but then as you look at our overall economy, the dropout rate is terrible. There's a wonderful movie, actually a quick show of hands. Has anyone seen the movie Waiting for Superman in this room? A few people have. I encourage you guys, it's called Waiting for Superman. Just put that in the back of your mind, Netflix it, whatever. It goes into the high school dropout situation throughout the US, and it's not a pretty story. The dropout rates nationally, I think, are somewhere around 70%. Many of the inner city schools in DC, where they focus in New York City, 50%. We are falling behind national or internationally in a major way. I think we're like number 30 on a lot of charts in terms of how our students are getting educated. So you all are kind of at the top of that chart doing really well, but there's a lot of people in our community not doing so well. So major dollars that affect our economy, and places like China is doing a tremendous job with their education, and many of the Asian countries are doing terrific with how they're educating their youth. We as a community should do that too. This is staggering, that third bullet point. Only 19% of minority students in Colorado are ready for college. So that doesn't mean just 19% graduate high school, but of those that do graduate from the inner city schools, they have to take remedial classes, 81% oftentimes, when they get to college. So they didn't even get a very good education in high school, even if they graduated. So it's a major issue. And I don't mean to depress you all, but it's helpful for you all to realize our high school situation it needs a lot of focus and help, and you all can make a difference. 67% of all new jobs today require some post-secondary training. Our economy has shifted. We're no longer a manufacturing economy. A lot of those jobs have gone overseas. That high school and even post-secondary piece is critical. Okay, I'm sorry I'm talking a lot here. Let me see if there's anything else I want to focus on. This is a great quote. The best economic stimulus package is a high school diploma. And I don't know who said that. Bob Wise he's the governor of West Virginia. We won't talk politics here about economic stimulus packages, but getting our youth educated, that high school diploma is critical. But what I just talked about earlier, we got to make sure it's a good high school diploma and they're ready for college. So there's a lot of pieces to that. But Goodwill is working on that. Oops. We have one more possible video here. I'm hoping this one works because this one is actually really cool. So Allison, what do you think? I don't think so. I don't know. Bummer. No video. Okay. I'm going to tell you about this video. This was our Power of Collaboration video. This one was so good. It focuses on a group of young African-American men at East High School here in Denver. It's on 17th and Colorado Boulevard, roughly, or University. And it is just a beautiful story of African-American professionals in the community mentoring this group of young men and getting them ready for the world of work. And that's just one small example. We are working with ethnically diverse, all communities, but it's really cool to see older professionals in our community kind of reaching out to the youth. And you all have that opportunity as college students. I know you probably don't see yourselves maybe yet as older professionals, but you're 5 steps, 10 steps ahead of these high school students, and you can also make a difference in their lives. Let's see, what else do I want to tell you before I turn it over to Allison? A couple quick thoughts. So I shared with you my Deloitte CPA, took the 50% pay cut when I went to work for United Way story. The other thing I meant to mention about the benefits of volunteering, this didn't actually happen to me, but it did happen to a couple of my friends. Several of my friends have volunteered with nonprofits and met their future spouse, and I'm not kidding. So I share with you or say to you that if you really want to meet your future spouse, volunteering is a great place to do it. You could do it at a bar, but you're taking a chance on who that person really is. And if you're volunteering with them at a nonprofit, I just think the odds go up a little bit higher in terms of the quality. That's just a little something to put out there. But truly, when you volunteer, you may meet some new friends, but 2 of my friends, 4 people total, have gotten married after a one-time volunteer experience. They hit it off, started dating, got married. So there's some Uber networking for you. What other wise words of wisdom? More is going to come to me after Allison speaks. So I think at this stage, I'm going to introduce Allison Yeager. So I quit talking, and she's going to tell you some more details. Thanks.
How are you guys? Can you hear me okay? I'm quieter than Mike. Yeah? Yeah. Who has questions for Mike that are inquisitive and participatory for tickets for an iPad? No one? Yes. Nice question. Anybody else? No? Who's ready to come work for Goodwill? Yeah? Yeah. I like it. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about volunteering. Mike told you why it's important. Who here currently volunteers? That's awesome. So. We are looking for lots and lots of volunteers, but you guys have a cool assignment that hopefully you've heard about already, where you get to volunteer once before the end of the semester is over, and you get a grade for it. It goes towards your total percentage of points. So it's an easy grade, it should be really fun, and you get to pick the charity or nonprofit that you want to make an impact with. We're hoping you'll choose Goodwill, but if there's something else that you're really passionate about, we would love to have you go and help them as well. If you don't know who you want to get behind or support, there's a whole packet of information of lots of different volunteer opportunities. A lot of them are around Halloween, which is kind of fun, so you can get involved with young people over Halloween. You can wear a costume, get a grade, and impact your community, which is cool. Have you guys all heard this already? Is this new to anybody? No? Good. Yes? Okay. Talk to your professors. It should have been covered in your syllabus, but I think Professor Caccetti is definitely open to chatting with you guys about it. There is some information on that first page about how you go about doing it. There's a log sheet on the second page. Will you hold it for me? Show it off. Vanna White. Thank you. So this is all you have to do is volunteer. Could be an hour, could be a day, and have your supervisor sign that. And then you turn it into your professor for a grade before the end of the term. So it's pretty simple, pretty easy. There's no criteria in terms of how much you have to volunteer or anything like that. So the few things that we wanted to talk to you about, what we need for Goodwill, Mike covered pretty well, but essentially we really need help with, my IT guy's not so good. What do you we really need help with college panels. So we have students that are, like Mike mentioned, that are thinking about going to college, but maybe have no idea how to go about doing it. They're scared. They don't think they can do it. They think it's too expensive. They don't want to leave their family. So we need you guys to come in and just talk about your experience. What's an average day at college like? How hard was it to get into college? What did you do for an application? And then, they just ask you some basic questions. It's really easy. It only takes about an hour, and we have them all over the city starting on Monday. So anytime between Monday and November 17th is when we have these going on. And then Mike mentioned also we have a campus visit. So does anybody know MLK High School? It's in Aurora. Yeah? Yay. Did you go there? Another Patriot. It's so fun. Chauncey Phillips. Does anybody remember? No? So we need you guys to come out. We need about 20 of you to come out, greet the students. You can bring a friend if you want to. We're going to have lunch. We're going to do a campus tour. You guys are going to do a college panel, same thing, to sort of talk about your experiences. And it'll be a really fun kind of interactive day where they can ask you questions sort of in a more casual setting. So that's coming up on October 26th. That's about a half-day experience. So basically, the way this is going to work is you can go ahead and pick the nonprofit that you want to get involved with. If it's Goodwill, we have an online registration system. It's not going to turn on till tomorrow night at 5 p.m. because we want to talk to everybody first and then give everybody equal opportunity to sign up. It's on your registration page in several places. It's on the first page. And then after every Goodwill assignment or Goodwill opportunity, it's there as well. Basically, you just go online, you enter in your information. You can search for what works best for your schedule. We have stuff every day, basically. And get registered. We'll send you the confirmation. We'll greet you. We'll send you a reminder, email, and phone call. It's super easy. And it's really, really fun. You can also sign up, like we said, with anybody else, but you have to do it before Tuesday. Just give them a call. You don't have to actually volunteer. We just want you to get started on this as soon as possible. If you guys have questions, you don't know which charity you want to get involved in, you're wondering, say you really like unicorns, you want to know if there's a unicorn sanctuary in Denver that you could volunteer for, I can help you with that, so give me a call. There aren't that I know of, but we could definitely direct you to the right charity to get you involved. Does anybody have questions? The directions are all on the front page. Yes, ma'am. You can absolutely do more than one. That's a great question. Yeah, you can do as many as you want. The minimum is 1 hour. Yes, sir.
Number of people limits? Like they say we need 10 people or we need 4 to 6 people. Are we thinking everyone is looking on Goodwill, or just like is this just from DU the cap of people?
The non-Goodwill ones, you're just kind of out in the with everybody. So we can't necessarily control how many people they can accept, but we tried to pick things that had big numbers. So like a lot of them, they can take up to 100 people. I think there's a couple walks in there where they can take a lot of people. Goodwill, the ones we reserved are just for DU. So we have a special website that we created just for you guys to register, which is pretty cool. You will get to volunteer with other people, but we're saving spots for you. And that's why we're asking you to register before Tuesday, because we need to know how many other people we need to recruit as volunteers. So we're holding these spots for you, and if you're not going to use them, that's okay, but we just need to know that. Does that answer your question? Yes. Behind.
As far as the mock interviews go, are those at the high schools, or where are they?
Yeah, so everything takes place except for the campus visit in a high school. And on the website, there's addresses, there's a full list of schools, there's times and dates. We didn't want to list everything because that's a lot of paper, so just go online and you can search. And like I said, if you have questions about like what area of the city you should be volunteering in, South High School is very close, so that might be a good fit. We've got lots of Patriots, so G-Dub. East High School is really fun. I personally really enjoy going to Commerce City. It's just a sort of a different area, and the kids are really appreciative of having you there. So, anybody else? Yes. Yeah, so the campus visit, they'll come here, I think around 9:15, and we'll do some icebreakers. It's kind of like a mini day camp, sort of. I don't know, that sounds juvenile. I take that back. But they're going to get off the bus, we're going to do some icebreakers, get to know you, and then you guys are going to break off into smaller groups so that they have the opportunity to kind of ask you some honest questions without the teachers being there. But we'll all go together, we'll facilitate everything, we'll take you on the tour, so you don't have to plan anything in advance. And we'll end the day with lunch here. So we're gonna buy lunch, pizza or sandwiches or something. And everybody will have time to chat. We did this last year, and it was really nice because people got to ask questions, and some really nice relationships kind of formed. There was some lacrosse players from DU who got paired with those football players that Mike mentioned, and they got to talk about being an athlete on a campus and what that feels like. So it's a really cool day. Anybody else? No? Mike, do you have anything to add?
So we wanted this to be fun for you all. And honestly, I don't remember exactly what Professor Cicchetti said. That this could be 5% of your grade. I mean, so it's going to be a component of the grade. I apologize, I don't know exactly what that percentage is. And it's just to encourage you all to get out there one time this quarter, do something. We certainly love chatting with you all about the Goodwill opportunities because I think they're a unique opportunity. But again, be creative. The list that we have in here in this packet for you all is not all inclusive. So there may be a student organization or food bank or something, your church or synagogue or whatever the case may be. We're very flexible on what that volunteer opportunity is. I would encourage you to try something new if you can. The one thing I do want to share with you on the Goodwill opportunities is it's very, very helpful if you can think through transportation, because we've done this ethics boot camp a few times, and some students in the past have signed up for maybe the Commerce City schools and don't have a car. So if you can try to either sign up for a faraway school, if you don't have a car, with somebody else so you can carpool, or make sure you have time to take the buses. The buses can get you to many parts of the city, but just think through the transportation issue if you would, because it is a challenge. If you sign up to do a mock interview for students and then you don't show up, it affects that student's opportunity to do that interview. So please do be conscientious. We do, Allison kind of said this first page here, if you do pick a charity, please do try to stick with them. We know stuff comes up, but really try to stick with them. I'm going to walk you through real quick too. This second page is a new thing, this kind of supervisor sign in. We'll make sure we get this electronically to your professors and to Professor C, because I realize you all may lose these. Try not to lose these handouts tonight. Put them in your backpack or bags, but if you do, we'll make sure we get them electronically. The idea here is to do a little bit of accountability. We trust you all, but being an ethics boot camp, we want you to be ethical, but we're going to check in on a couple of these, kind of audit a few of them. So would encourage you to, try not to forge these if you would. You can always talk to Professor C or us if there's really just some urgent stuff. I know sometimes there's sports teams, you guys have some crazy schedules, but hopefully we could find something for you to do. That third page is the Goodwill site. So you'll see the CVent. It's that crazy little register online at cvent.com. You got to type in those, 10 characters after that. And Allison's available. So you see Allison's email, phone number, give her a buzz or shoot her an email. We do want everybody to try to do this by Tuesday night, as she discussed. Some of the sign-up things on that website probably will fill up. So if you're really interested in doing Goodwill and want to check the full calendar, it's a cool calendar. I was just looking at it earlier today. Try to get online tomorrow night after 5. We're not opening it up until 5 p.m. tomorrow because we have 2 more big groups like you all to talk to tomorrow. So we just want to make it equitable for all 400 of you to get that shot. But I'd encourage you to try to get on there tomorrow night after 5. And then the full list, I was looking through. There's just some cool stuff here for you guys to get involved with. Well, there was one that really intrigued me. Hold on. I really want you to do Goodwill, but not the Butterfly Pavilion. Oh, yeah. The Colorado School of Wrestling. Who knew you could volunteer with the Colorado School of Wrestling? I did not. But Monster Match is coming up. When is that? Saturday, November 5th. So let me say this. A lot of the Goodwill volunteer opportunities are during Monday through Friday. The kids are in school. So I know that's an issue for a lot of you, maybe with class schedules. So if you have to do a Saturday, the Monster Match, I think, looks pretty cool. But then there's other things like the Pancreatic Cancer Research Walk. So just have fun with it. Certainly, I would encourage you, connect with a friend or two and try to do the same thing if you want, but be brave and go on your own as well. So we've given you a little bit more info. I was trying to get on your website here because we do have those videos on YouTube. I don't know if any of you as students can log us in, possibly. Could you mind? Yeah, we'll see if we can show you a video real quick. Any questions? So I've given you a little bit more details on this sign-in thing. Professor C will tell you a little bit more. Your professors in the class will tell you a little bit more, and then hopefully we're going to show you this really cool video. Allison, I'd say maybe the Men at Work one, if we can get that one. That's a great video. What else? I think I saw Project Cures in here. How many of you have ever done any volunteering with Project Cure? Anyone? I see some hands. Yeah, it's a great organization. They collect used medical supplies, and they need volunteers to come to their warehouse to help sort the medical supplies, and they go overseas to fill clinics that have no medical supplies. A really amazing organization. We actually, I went to their lunch a couple months ago. DU has a huge affiliation with Project Cure. The Prime Minister of Mongolia came. I'm clueless. I had no idea that Mongolia was a country, but it's really big, and it's near Russia and China, so you guys may know that better than I do. But amazing, the work that Project Cure is doing in Mongolia. The other one is World Vision. I don't know if that's on your list, but they do a lot of warehouse stuff as well, where you can sort and pack things that go overseas. So really cool. Food Bank of the Rockies. Those warehouse ones are where we can get some bigger groups, hopefully in there. Habitat for Humanity, that's on the last page. That's always popular. It's really hard, it seems, to get on an actual house. They just get booked up like crazy. So I think the Habitat opportunities at their stores, they have these retail, like Home Depot used stuff. So I think that's what their opportunity is. Colorado School of Wrestling, I've already advocated for them. And, oh, Children's Museum. I really ought to talk about this one. Are they doing Trick or Treat Street, I think? That's pretty cool. Yeah, Trick or Treat Street's coming up, Halloween. So I'd encourage you, if Goodwill's not your thing, think about if you can do the Children's Museum, Trick or Treat Street. Great stuff. Just giving you a lot of options here. But again, this is not the comprehensive list. So if it's your church or if it's a organization on campus, we can do that as well. And our computer is tricky, it looks like. Any more questions with all of these new details? Actually, I still have some little things to give away. I've got 3 more. So how about a thoughtful question about Goodwill or our economy or youth, or what do you think? Who wants to get an iPad ticket? Let's see, or maybe I'll ask you. All right, yep. That's a great question. Awesome. You definitely get a ticket. Okay, so the question was, how does Goodwill choose a location for a new store? And it's evolved over the years. I'll be very honest with you all. 15, 20 years ago, Goodwill was seen as dusty, musty, old thrift stores. People your age were not coming into them. We've since then chosen more A locations. Honestly, we have not been able to get into some locations because they don't want thrift in their shopping center. So a lot of shopping center landlords would say, we don't want you. However, in this economy, commercial real estate has taken the hit. We've gotten into some better A locations. A good example of that is we're up in Boulder now on Broadway and Baseline. We just opened up behind the Taco Bell there. It used to be an Ace Hardware, amazing location. That Hampton and Monaco location, it's a former Staples store, is huge. So landlords are starting to see, you bring Goodwill in, you're bringing in traffic, you're bringing in a very stable entity, and it's not, crime doesn't go up or anything like that when we open up a store. We have tons of studies on that. So we're getting in better locations. We have an amazing real estate guru, and that was a great question. So thank you very much for passing that back. Any more business questions? Yeah? Man, good. You guys are good. You guys are smart. Very good question. Okay, so the 24 Goodwill stores, we have about 50 million pounds annually that gets donated. Most of the stuff that's donated in the back room of a store gets sorted and sold in that store. We color code all the tags, so something's got to sell within 6 weeks. If it doesn't, it goes back into what's called a salvage process, and that really is a recycle process. So 50% of stuff goes on the floor, other 50% goes back into recycling. Our goal as an organization is to keep as much out of a landfill as possible. So we've got a huge 100,000 square foot warehouse up on 68th and Federal where we process shoes. Shoes, for example, we get a zillion shoes that don't sell. We get those sorted, put into these bags, and they get sent overseas to third world relief agencies. So the shoes that wouldn't even sell in a Goodwill store are becoming shoes on the feet of somebody overseas that doesn't have shoes. Plastic, steel, we're trying to figure out more and more recycling. We're actually working really closely with Waste Management, of all things. They are an amazing recycler nowadays. Their goal is to keep things out of landfills as well. So recycling is our big goal. Clothes get recycled by a rag company right now. We actually used to send clothes overseas, but gas costs have gone up way too much. So great question. Thank you. Yeah. Good question on future startups. Goodwill is pretty unique in that most of our funding, stays within the stores, goes to our youth program. So we're not a foundation in the sense of like giving out dollars to help startups, but there's a ton of great organizations out there that do that. The Daniels Fund, for example, is a big nonprofit. Bill Daniels, College of Business. Daniels did a huge foundation there in the Cherry Creek area, so they give big grants to nonprofits like that. I'm trying to think of others. Denver Foundation. It's more the foundation, so Goodwill's revenues kind of stay within the Goodwill system. Now, that being said, we do look for creative opportunities to fund things. So we opened our first career connection center on Iliff and Chambers in Aurora just about a month ago, which was an idea that was brought to us by somebody else, but that stays within the fold of Goodwill, kind of our overall 501c3. But that's a great question. If you have creative ideas for nonprofits, the Colorado Nonprofit Association has boot camps and trainings to kind of figure out how to start your own 501c3. So I'd encourage you to do that. And that was my last iPad ticket, and I guess our computer is old school, and thank you for trying. It is ancient. Yeah. Cool. Maybe we'll try the Mac tomorrow. We'll see. Okay, we're getting close to the end of our time. Anything? You guys feel good? So try not to lose these sheets. Sign up tomorrow on our website after 5 o'clock, or contact your favorite charity by Tuesday, midnight. Thank you all.